Hello, my lovely, lovely subscribers. I'm Adama, your astrologer, and this is Lilith Astrology. Thank you so much for joining me. Remember, if you love everything you see and you love Lilith Astrology, please subscribe, click the bell. Don't forget to like this video, share with a friend, and if you love Lilith Astrology, check out our premium horoscopes. You can become a member today for very low price in the bio, or not bio link, on please Instagram. In the description of this video, you can check out those links below. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram. We're on Twitch. We're now on Twitter and on Facebook. So this video is to talk about Scorpio rising. So I am not a Scorpio rising. I'm a Scorpio sun and actually Mercury in Scorpio. So I can relate to this energy a bit, but being a Scorpio rising is very different than, being a Scorpio sun. And I'm here to talk to you what that means and in terms of your chart, how that is laid out, and what types of character traits you can exert in a Scorpio rising. So if you're a cross watcher, you can learn about Scorpio rising, or if you're Scorpio rising yourself, you can learn more about this chart. So the rising sign is what sign was at the horizon in the east when you were born. And essentially, this is how you see the world. This is your persona. This is how you come across to people when you first meet them. This is more than likely why you don't feel like your sun sign. You may not feel like your moon sign unless they're compatible with the sign Scorpio. And essentially, this is also the way that your chart is laid out. And it's actually very important to know your rising sign. And you can find this out if you know your birth time. And you can consult, check out readings with me. And you can check out, what your rising sign is, particularly for you, for what that means for your life. Because it is a very, very important placement. It's not just your personality. Again, how your whole chart is laid out. And there's also a ruling planet. So whatever planet rules your rising sign, that is essentially the planet that rules your chart, and that is a very important planet in your personality. Very interesting, right? So let's get started with Scorpio rising in particular. Pluto actually rules the sign Scorpio, and Mars is the ancient ruler of the sign Scorpio. Mars is before Pluto was discovered in 1931. It was actually discovered in America. And essentially, before Pluto was discovered, Mars was the ruler. And Mars rules Aries. You want to check out my Aries rising video. That's the whole series. And essentially, both of these planets in both modern and ancient astrology rule the sign of Scorpio. So Mars and Pluto rule your chart. And these are really intense planets. These are two of the malefic planets. The other one is Saturn, which you all know is all about restriction and structure. But Mars is our passion. Mars is our drive. Mars is how we get things done. Mars is in its own sign in the sign of Scorpio. The people who have, say, Mars and Scorpio are very driven. And this is like a very intense placement, but it's very beneficial in terms of getting things done, like going to research. So you have the planet of action and war. It's a divine masculine planet. And it can take on feminine traits when it's in a more feminine sign, like Scorpio. Aries is the masculine side of Mars, but Mars in Scorpio is quite feminine because it's more receptive in terms of its warlike behavior, not as go out and, with guns blazing. We have Mars in Aries right now, so you can kind of see it going on in the collective. And then we have Pluto, which is the planet of destruction, death, crisis, but it also is the planet of transformation, change, depth, the underworld, the occult, what is beneath the surface. And if you also think about the sign Scorpio, Scorpio is about all of those things too. Scorpio rules the genitals and is a sexy sign, get the rap, very sexual sign because it rules sex. It rules death. It rules transformation. And these are all things that we need in life in order to keep the circle of life going. Death and rebirth are essential. And so you wear that on your rising everywhere you go. So, you may have had people say, oh, you're intense, or unless it's another, like I'm friends with plenty of Scorpio risings, and I'm not afraid of them, and I don't think anyone's afraid of them per se, but you give off a more intense aura than, say, someone like a Virgo rising, where it's more earthy and more practical. Scorpio rising shows up with intensity, and so that's in your personality. So you wear that Scorpio energy on the surface, and especially if you are a millennial. So if you're a millennial, 1983 to 1995, you are part of the Pluto and Scorpio generation. And so you show up really intense in the collective, especially if you are a Scorpio rising, because of having that on your ascendant. And that's actually very rare placement to have Pluto in its home sign in the sign of Scorpio. So that is your first house. And the reason why I say that is because that is not all there is to Scorpio rising. Like when I look at a rising sign, I actually take the whole chart into account. And so now I'm going to go over with you guys. I'm going to use a sample chart. It's just it's going to be from Scorpio season this year. I'm going to share it just to show you how a Scorpio rising chart is laid out. So you can kind of just disregard the planets for now. But I feel like this is the best way for me to kind of show you guys what's going on. So here you can see the first house, Scorpio. So as I mentioned, you have all of that intensity right when you show up in the room. But then when you move to your second house, you have Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is all about expansion, growth. It's all about philosophy, what you can offer to the collective in terms of knowledge on a broader scale. So many Scorpio risings, even though you actually are an introverted sign, it's a water sign, a fixed water sign, so it's emotional, and there's so much depth and intensity with this sign. In your second house, you can really take all of those teachings and learnings that you've learned in your life and showing up in the world with such intensity and disseminate them into the world. Sagittarius is also expansive, so you can actually find luck. Scorpio rising can find luck with making money and abundance. And obviously this is just general. It depends on what planets are in what sign for you, but this is your second house. And so I'm going to bring this up on the screen again. And so then we move to your third house, Capricorn. So this is what gives, so the third house is communication. Second house is earned income, self-worth, all of that. So that's why I mentioned, that's why I say money and that growth of income, depending on what planets and aspects are going on in this house. But Scorpio rising can make that point, which is excellent, So moving on to the third house, we have Capricorn. And the third house is communication, thought processes. It's about siblings and short distance travel. Classically, like Mercury rules this house, the Gemini house. Let me move back to the second house. That's the Taurus, Venus house. But this is really all about communication, and you have Capricorn. So that's what gives Scorpios the stinger and that quick biting communication and that voice, because you have such an intense planet. You got Saturn ruling your third house of communication. So that really gives you that quick, snappy response and that power speech. You can be great speakers, but that is really what helps you kind of push things forward in an intense way. So moving on to your fourth house, you have Aquarius. And so a lot of Scorpio risings could have had this unique childhood, like your parents maybe had a unique situation, your home life was very unique, the father could have had a different type of job, he may not have had something as steady, like it may have been like freelance, or it may have been, something creative or something in science that was different and not mainstream. And so seeing that different type of background, you tend to be comfortable with unique people, unique places, unique things, and you find comfort in that versus your direct and immediate surroundings. Like your home may also kind of feel like the world, and you also kind of feel like you are a person of the world versus like being from somewhere like a small town humdrum life. Like Scorpio risings always have found themselves, especially in their childhood, in different situations. So that has given them a little more of a flexible emotional standpoint in their life. The fourth house is, represents the father. It represents sometimes the mother. It depends on the chart, but I'm team father on this one, and the midheaven 10th house, which is here. I'm team mother on that. We're going to get to that shortly. But the fourth house is your emotional foundation, the root. It's like very root chakra energy, and it's ruled by the moon in Cancer. So you are not, your typical person when it comes to home life, family life, and what you are comfortable. You're comfortable in different environments. So moving on to the fifth house, you have Pisces. And that's who's in Pisces right now. You're probably feeling it, feeling so creative if you're a Scorpio rising. It's August 2020 when I'm filming this. And, having Pisces in the fifth house, Scorpio rising can be very creative. They can, they can really dream up just innovative projects, innovative things, innovative ways of being. Some of them can have musical talent or, spoken word, depending on what places are in that house. Also having a thing to be careful with Pisces in the fifth house is, and I'm not saying that every Scorpio rising, has addiction or drinking issues or anything like that, but depending on the placements in that house, there can be a predisposition to, addictive tendencies or wanting to escape. And so it's something to watch out for if you're a Scorpio rising. So moving on to the sixth house, we have Aries. So this is your day-to-day routine. This is, how you get things done, how you go about your day. We're going from the fifth house, which is about self-expression and creativity and fun, gambling, children. And then we're going to the sixth house, and you know how to go about your day, get things done. You are not playing around when it comes to, getting errands done, working out, taking care of your health. You can experience, depending on, what planets are placed in this house, you can experience intense feelings and emotions as you go throughout your day. And you may need to assert your dominance. And this also goes with that Capricorn third house. You may feel like you need to reassert your dominance sometimes and stand up for yourself, because even when you show up to the room, you tend to attract some plutonic things happening to you, like, seeing someone steal something in the store, or walking outside and seeing a car crash, or, experiencing sometimes a situation that you just were like, how did I get to this? Or someone reacting to you and misunderstanding what you said. That can kind of happen sometimes in your day-to-day life. So it's so important to stand in your truth and stand in who you are. You can do that in a respectful way and just command your presence and command your attention, because you also have Mars ruling your sixth house. And you are extremely driven in terms of work. We have this second house of earning income synergy with the sixth house of daily life and work, making that beautiful trine. You can really be a powerhouse in terms of getting that coin, getting that money, and going about your day. And so moving to your seventh house. So this is why we say that Tauruses are the partner sign to Scorpio, because Scorpio is opposite the sign Taurus. And in a Scorpio rising chart, Taurus is the partner. The seventh house describes the type of partner that you like, or the type of partner you will attract in your life. It also describes the type of partner you need. So, when you have this intensity, you have these intense emotions, you have all of these things happening around you that you need to stay zen and you need to stay calm personally, there's nothing better than a Taurus, the opposite polarity, to ground you, bring you beauty, bring you joy, soften the situation, and help, help instill comfort. And then they, in turn, can help you through and be that place for you to land on emotionally, because you have all those intense feelings. So moving on to Gemini. Gemini you have in your 8th house. So this house is actually a Scorpio house. And you know one thing is interesting going back to the 7th house is Venus is a ruler of Taurus. So you are quite comfortable when you do find that partner. You tend to want to stay in that, relationship for a while. But then moving on to the 8th house, that's about marriage. That's about sex. Death is in this house, transformation, debt, taxes, other people's money, things you may owe people, financing, financial backers, money you may get from other people, money you may get from a spouse, settlement. So this is really this is a house where you experience your own personal growth, transformation, and where, you can experience alchemy and change through challenge. And so Gemini in your 8th house, going back to the nature of your sign, you are not as outspoken and out there and social as, say, a Gemini. And so this is a part of your chart that takes a little more effort for you to harness and to fully grasp onto in order to transform and own your power. This can really help you propel your finances. Learning to speak in an authentic, true, and strong way, learning to speak your truth, which can be somewhat of a challenge for Scorpio because they don't want to come off as intense, having experienced people in the past telling them that they were too intense or not accepting them for who they are. So now it's a challenge to embrace that and to speak your truth, heal your throat chakra, and that's where you can feel empowered. So that's your 8th house of transformation. And you can also, that's what I always say, I've been with enough Geminis in my life. I'm good right now, honestly, with Gemini. And romantically, friends cool, but romantically, no. But that's why we have the Scorpio Gemini tryst, because, your 8th house, you got Gemini there. So that can trigger some feelings of sexual desire for some people. And then we have the 9th house, which is all about expansion. So the 9th house this is ruled by Sagittarius and Jupiter, and this is all about expansion. You have Cancer in this house. Expansion meaning travel, where you went to college, going to get higher education, courses, expanding your mind through not research, but through experience and being accepting of the world around you and growth. And so when you have Cancer here, sometimes you kind of want to just stay home. I think this is really also where Scorpio gets that rap for wanting to kind of stay under the surface, stay, in your own comfort zone and stay hidden. Cancer energy loves, it's the crab, loves to stay in their shell. So when you have Cancer in the 9th house, home can be an expensive place for you. And that doesn't mean that you're just sitting at home doing nothing. You could be reading, you could be working, you could be researching, taking online classes. So having Cancer, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're just like stick in the mud. It may mean that you may not like to travel out there that much, depending on places in your chart, just general. But you really do like to expand your mind. But, you do love your comfort zone too. And so moving on to the 10th house. So this is it's like an oxymoron a little bit, because you have Scorpio, which is, again, the most, you guys are you love to be inside, you love to be private, and Leo is not. And so these energies square each other. And, it's natural for the energies on your, in your 4th house and your IC, which is, your emotional foundation here. And then for your midheaven to square your ascendant, it's natural, because it takes a little bit of challenge and effort to sometimes self-actualize and really hone in on those areas of your life. And in terms of your life path, there needs to be some tension or challenge in order for you to get there. And so with Leo, that's the showman. That's the person that's front and center, on screen, like out there. And it can be a little jarring for you to get there. But that is your ultimate vision. That is what you've been put here to do. And so some Scorpio risings may find that they have this desire to be in the spotlight ultimately and need. But there is some getting over some of their own subconscious beliefs and blocks of not progressing in that area. And so that I can help you with before reading, check the links below. But that can be a challenge, and it can definitely be done 120%. It's just understanding that and then working through some of those blocks in order to self-actualize and get the future that you want. So that's the midheaven or 10th house. And this is all about career, your public status. It's ruled by Saturn and Capricorn. This is all about your pinnacle and where you need to be going. So moving on to the 11th house of group, friendship, network. This rules the internet. This is also your hopes and dreams and wishes. This is how you appear to the public too. People who have, like, say, Moon and Gemini in the 11th house are just very busy people, popular people, friends everywhere, always going this and that, doing this and that. And you have Virgo here. So let's actually also take a look at what houses, the signs that are most compatible, earth and water, are to you. Your 11th house, you have Virgo. 7th house, you have, that's a friendship, loose connections. 7th house, we have relationships. And then 3rd house of communication, we have Capricorn. 7th house, we have Taurus. So basically, you see a trend here, how the chart of the rising makes up that energy of that, even when you apply it to the sun sign. So it's like all of those combination of things still live in that essence of that sign, even though we may not break it down like this, like I am for you right now. The essence of that sign is still there. And that story of this wheel is still in that, that sun sign, if you want to apply it to the sun sign or the moon sign. Just that essence of that sign is still there. It's very interesting. But Virgo in your 11th house, not only can you be friends with Virgos, but you are very practical when it comes to choosing your friends. Scorpio risings are not the type to have 20,000 friends like a Gemini in the 11th house or a Leo in the 11th house. Very practical, very down to earth. They don't want to be the center of attention in their friendship, and they are very discerning. They're picky, and it makes sense. They want to fill their lives with people that it makes sense to fill their lives with, and that can help them and serve them in a certain kind of way, And I'm a Scorpio, so I totally understand that. And you need to feel like grounded in those friendships. And so I don't think you're one to just run around and willy-nilly making friends with everybody. And that, I think, is, it's a positive trait to have. And so the last sign and house I'm going to talk about is your 12th house. You have Libra. I'm going to close this for you. So the 12th house, you have Libra. And the 12th house is things hidden, the subconscious, things underneath the surface, things that you cannot see. It rules prisons, things that can be trapped, things that, there can be anxiety there, places in this house. 12th house is a very, very intense house. And having Libra here, whatever sign is in the 12th house of your rising sign, that is a challenge for you to really meditate and dig deep, tap into that. Because it is something that is lost in your subconscious and is not right at the forefront. And Libra energy is about peace and harmony and beauty and balance. And Scorpio is not about those things. So tapping into that can be somewhat of a challenge for you, or even tapping into peace. Pluto and Scorpio and Mars are not about peace. They are about, like, let's get it done, let's get it going, change is here, like circle of life, crisis, death. It's not, let's let things float merrily down the lane. So you have to take a moment to every day to tap into that lost Libra energy, especially if you have placements here. If you have sun here, if you have moon here, any planet, tapping into the energy of that planet in your subconscious and bringing it to life to help harness its power can be very beneficial for you, because who doesn't need peace, And also, if you think about it, Taurus, your opposite modality, can also bring those things, because Venus rules both the sign of Libra and Taurus. So that it can be very nurturing to find somebody with Venusian qualities, or someone who can bring that added beauty to your life that has been hidden or suppressed or has not been shown out in the open. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget, if you love what you see, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell so you can get updates. We have the live stream every Monday at 8 p.m. and other amazing content with horoscopes coming up. And so I don't want you to miss it. Don't forget to check out memberships at lilithastrology.com for even more in-depth videos, more cosmic insights, and I will see you next video. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.